Tonight, the dollars and cents of MLA travel. The government made 17 trips in the first 3 months of this year. We dig into their rising travel bills. Also,
I'm currently on disability leave for breast cancer in Saskatchewan.
A Regina woman who survived breast cancer is now sharing the financial toll the disease has taken on her. Plus, picking up where they left off. Students in northern Saskatchewan evacuated because of wildfire danger are back home and continuing to plant trees in an area now charred by fire.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, June 12th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for watching. Saskatchewan's Premier and Cabinet are on pace to spend more on out-of-province travel than in years past. The government recently posted its travel expenses for MLAs up to March 31st. Adam Hunter has the details.
Premier Scott Moe makes no apologies about traveling to promote Saskatchewan far and wide. And the government is doing that more than ever. Recent filings for out-of-province travel expenses show the government spent more in 2022 than it did in the last normal travel year of 2019. In total, it spent more than $500,000 on trips out of the province last year, highlighted by 3 big-ticket trips overseas. The Minister of Trade and Export Development, Jeremy Harrison, spent more than $30,000 to go to Vietnam. Health Minister Paul Merriman's trip to the Philippines to recruit healthcare workers cost just over $28,000, and Minister of Advanced Education Gord Wyant spent more than $17,000 on a trip to Germany and France. This year, the government's on pace to outspend last year's travel expenses. In just the first 3 months of 2023, the government has spent more than $210,000 on out-of-province travel. The 3 most expensive trips were the Premier's trip to India, which hit nearly $57,000. The Agriculture Minister's trip to India and the United Arab Emirates was $32,000, and the Minister of Trade's trip to Japan and South Korea came in at about $25,000. The opposition says it's not against MLA travel, but it says the trips need to see results, and with the cost of living going up, the government should scale back.
You know, while the Sask Party MLAs might find it justifiable, might find it fun to be flying internationally on the taxpayer dime, for the average person in Saskatchewan, they're not feeling the benefits of that, and I think it's fair to say that the Premier and his cabinet members should perhaps spend a little bit more time at home and see the reality that most people in the province are living with.
In a statement to CBC, the government says that international engagement is how the province increases its exports and builds and strengthens its international trade relationships and partnerships. It says that creates jobs and economic prosperity. Adam Hunter, CBC News, Regina.
A Regina breast cancer survivor is speaking out about the financial cost of the disease. Sarah Wright spent 2 years undergoing testing and surgery. The 40-year-old woman says she had savings and disability benefits from her job, but cancer still put her in debt.
You know, I had savings. I worked full-time. I had a side hustle, or I still have a side hustle. I drive a used car that's paid off. My husband and I have been renovating this house. It'll be 10 years in August. You know, we had savings. Like, we did all the things that you think as an adult in your 30s you're supposed to do, and it's gone. It's long gone. And, so, you don't think about or know even that, for example, I work for one of the largest employers in the province. We have great benefits, but no one talks about that there's an 80-day waiting deductible before you can even apply for disability. Currently I finished work the last week in March of this year for the second time. I needed another leave. I wasn't healing internally properly because I was doing too much and working too much, and I started getting really sick just from a healing perspective. And that was the last day I was paid for, was March 15th this year. I'm lost in the world of insurance and back and forth payroll information and complete strangers and insurance companies insisting on my really private therapy appointment transcripts and all these things, and I still don't have an income. And you're already so vulnerable and you're already so beaten down because you think you've done everything you should. Like, no one told me when I paid off my student loan for my 30th birthday party that for my 40th birthday party last summer, I should have had another pot for cancer. I feel like, I'm one of the fortunate ones. I'm on the other side. Now I'm just so grateful that all I have left is bills and I can move on in my life. That is a luxury I don't take for granted whatsoever. But at the same time, nobody talks about the financial trauma, and it's very real.
The federal government says more than 30,000 Canadians remain out of their homes as more than 400 wildfires burn across the country. Nearly half of them are considered out of control. While the latest weather forecasts are not promising, Ottawa says more resources to fight the fires are coming. Marina von Stackelberg reports.
More help has arrived. A new batch of 70 Canadian soldiers has been deployed to Edson, west of Edmonton. A rapidly growing fire about 2 kilometers from the town has forced evacuations, where a change of wind could dramatically change the situation for the worse.
We're doing our best to build containment lines as quickly as possible around communities, critical infrastructure like power lines, etc.
It's Monday morning. We're here.
The community's mayor showing Monday morning just how quickly things can change.
This is much different than yesterday. Yesterday was clear, it was sunny, it was like nothing was going on. Today, a lot of smoke.
This now qualifies, unfortunately, as Canada's worst wildfire season of the 21st century.
In an update in Ottawa, the Canadian government says 5,000 people are now fighting the fires across the country.
The firefighters have done an extraordinary job fighting these fires to date, and when the provinces and territories have asked for additional help, we've been able to get that help. The response internationally has been nothing short of extraordinary.
More than 1,000 international firefighters are on the ground. Hundreds more from Spain, Portugal, Chile, and Costa Rica are on their way. Much needed reinforcements, as there is no sign Mother Nature will help.
I sigh because I don't really have a lot of good news.
Environment Canada warns the forecast for the week does not look good.
We don't see lots of rain for places that have the most active fires, especially in Quebec. And on top of that, only showers are in the forecast with thunderstorms. Lightning, especially later for the week.
Asked whether it's time for Canada to consider a national firefighting service, Ottawa says officials on site have the information to make the right call quickly, and that the federal government can always help when needed. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Some northern Saskatchewan students are doing their part to restore the forest that was destroyed by a wildfire. The Clearwater River Dene Nation School was forced to evacuate twice in May. Now evacuees are back home and planting new trees. More than 20 students from the Kodiak School helped plant 9,000 tree seedlings. The tree planting was already in the works before wildfire ripped through the surrounding forest, but the project became even more meaningful for students when they saw the charred woodland.
It felt very good planting trees because it'll make in a few years or longer, the trees will grow and they'll look way better than it does now.
It was a very big spirit lifter, and even the people who are coming by to say hi and stuff, their spirits also seem to be lifted. It's just like the positive vibe, the positive emotions that were coming from the experience were probably, in my opinion, the best.
The tree planting is part of a climate action program at the school that's funded by Environment and Climate Change Canada. It helps Indigenous communities embrace a greener, decolonized future. Supreme Court Justice Russell Brown announced his retirement today, effective immediately. His decision to step down halts the investigation into a misconduct claim against him. It's connected to an alleged incident at a resort in Arizona in late January. Karina Roman has the details.
Russell Brown has issued a statement in which he says that he has not participated in the court's work for over 4 months, and he was concerned about how much longer that delay would impact the court's work. He says it's had a significant strain on his family and himself and that he cannot ignore this. Then he goes on to say, while my counsel and I are confident that the complaint would have ultimately been dismissed, the continuing delay is in nobody's interests, the courts, the public's, my family's, or my own. I have therefore decided that the common good is best served by my retirement so that a replacement judge can join the court in time for its busy fall term. The Canadian Judicial Council has also issued a statement today in which it says, since Justice Brown is now no longer a judge, the Council's jurisdiction over the complaint against him has ended under the Act. As such, proceedings before the Council that involve Justice Brown have come to an end. If there had been a public inquiry into the allegations, Russell Brown would have been the first Supreme Court justice to undergo such a process that could have ended in a recommendation for his dismissal. Now, this all comes about after an altercation in January in Arizona at a 5-star resort. Now, there are allegations of drunk and inappropriate behavior, allegations that he was harassing women. The complainant, who is a retired Marine, says he stepped in to thwart Mr. Brown and that he ended up punching Brown twice. Police were called, but no charges were laid on either side. Brown denies the allegations and says the punches were unprovoked. And a statement from his lawyer came out today saying that the allegations from the complainant is fraught with glaring contradictions, inaccuracies, and embellishments, and that there is substantial evidence refuting the allegations, including surveillance video footage, witness evidence from the hotel's bartender, the hotel security officer, and even the recording of the complainant's 911 call. Russell Brown was appointed to the Supreme Court in 2015 by former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. But regardless of where the truth lies, the ultimate result is that there is now a vacancy on the Supreme Court, a vacancy that will be filled by the Trudeau government. Karina Roman, CBC News, Ottawa.
A Saskatoon teenager is heading to Japan for one of the world's most prestigious math competitions. Haojie Yang is a grade 12 student at Walter Murray Collegiate. He started taking high school math when he was in grade 7, then moved on to university-level math in grade 9. Yang will compete at the International Mathematical Olympiad in Japan at the start of July. Over the course of 9 days, he'll face off against other high school students from around the world to solve difficult math problems.
First of all, I'm very excited. So I know in these competitions, I can show some of my hard works. And in particular, I've actually been, for this International Math Olympiad, I've been working hard for the past 5 years to reach. And I'm currently very excited that I finally made the team, and I actually will get to go to IMO. And also, I'm very grateful for the opportunities that my teachers have given me.
This fall, Yang is off to Harvard University on a full scholarship. Well, say what you will about the alternating heat and rain, but it has done wonders for the community gardens. This one on Grant Road in South Regina is growing like, well, a weed, though gardeners are obviously trying to avoid those. Do we have a garden-friendly forecast this week? Ethan will have your answer after the break. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. Used car savings is on now.
Welcome back. Our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. I'm slowly killing all my gardening. I hope it goes better for other people. How's the heat situation?
Well, we are going to be in this for, I think, a good couple of days here. And then a big change coming as we head toward the end of next week. In the meantime, we're looking at some storm activity after a few days of a reprieve from that. We had some storms moving through the Saskatoon area earlier this afternoon, and they are still kind of popping up west of there. In west central Saskatchewan, we did have a warning on this cell moving through the Kindersley-Rosetown area around Highway 7. That has since dropped off, but storms are still firing up, moving from west to east. And as a result, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch, which is in effect for the Kindersley-Rosetown area, for Saskatoon itself, and for the areas around it, including Delisle and Rosthern and Martinsville, Warman, and to the south of there as well, the Outlook-Hanley area and Watrous. Heat warnings in place for the city of Lloydminster and eastern Alberta, not likely to spill our way at this point. But what has been expanding are the air quality statements in effect through almost all of northern Saskatchewan, and they do extend as far south as Kindersley and Saskatoon. You just can't see it there because those severe thunderstorm watches are covering that up. But the air quality health index is definitely, those levels are rising. We're into the high category. Keep in mind that this is on a scale out of 10. So if you're in central and northern Saskatchewan, tonight, tomorrow, you're going to be in that high range. So even if you are not particularly susceptible to smoke, it's a good idea to spend less time outside. Make sure you are spending some time indoors. And through southern Saskatchewan, we're kind of in that low to moderate risk. So for air quality, just keep an eye out over these next couple of days as we do have smoke in the vicinity, and keep an eye out for any symptoms you might be having for that. The smoke is heaviest in northern Saskatchewan, spilling southeastward as northwesterly winds begin to move in tonight. And then things start to move out as we head into Wednesday, but a low pressure system moving in and winds spinning counterclockwise around that means that we could get some forest fire smoke from Alberta moving in toward the end of the week. And our own fire risk is still quite high here through much of the province, save for northern Saskatchewan, the far north, where we are actually seeing a cold front move through and some showers in that portion of the province. The temperatures into the low to mid-teens there this afternoon. Compare that to southern Saskatchewan, much different. Likely not going to see that drop southward as that system is moving eastward. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms possible for much of the province. Severe risk will actually be in northwestern Saskatchewan, but most of the severe weather going to be in Alberta. This low pressure system moving in on Wednesday will provide rain to the north of the province, getting windy in southern Saskatchewan, but less of a chance of some showers there. The jet stream also changing things. The warm air caught to the south of it right now, but as we head through the week, we're going to be seeing this trough develop, and that will be bringing some cooler conditions, especially as we head through Thursday, Friday, and then things actually moderating somewhat after that. So after a chance of some showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, there's that big temperature drop off for Regina and southern Saskatchewan, possibly some showers as we hit the weekend. Saskatoon also very warm these next couple of days here with warm overnight lows as well. Windy again on Thursday with that temperature drop. So finally feeling like normal, just maybe, Sam, heading into the end of this week.
Oh, that's thrilling. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Well, these cute Asian small-clawed otters are among the smallest of the world's 13 different kinds of otters. They're a controversial pet in many Asian countries. However, the illegal pet trade, poaching, and habitat destruction have led to a steep decline in the wild population. The aquarium they were born in expects them to be a popular attraction for visitors this summer. I can see why. We'll be back after the break. Security is ramping up outside a Miami courthouse. Former U.S. President Donald Trump is due there tomorrow to face federal charges about national security. The CBC's Edith El-Moussa has the story.
Authorities in Miami say they're ready for Donald Trump's unprecedented court appearance Tuesday. The former president is facing dozens of charges over his alleged mishandling of classified documents, and police are preparing for protests from his supporters and his opponents.
We hope that tomorrow will be peaceful. We encourage people to be peaceful in them demonstrating how they feel, and we're going to have the adequate forces necessary to ensure that.
Trump is the first former president in U.S. history to face federal charges, but many of his supporters are downplaying the 49-page indictment, calling it politically motivated, as Trump vies to secure the Republican nomination for president. But one former Trump official says the charges are serious.
Not only is it powerful, it's very narrowly tailored. They didn't throw everything up against the wall to see what would stick. This really is a rifle shot, and I think it should be the end of Donald Trump's political career.
Across from Mar-a-Lago estate, Trump loyalists say they'll stand by him.
No matter what, he's the person that actually has made America better than what it was, and now it seems to be going downhill.
As Trump prepares to surrender to authorities in Miami Tuesday, he's encouraging his supporters to protest outside the courthouse. Edith El-Moussa, CBC News, Washington.
And Ethan is back with one last look at your weather.
And still likely going to be smoky in many portions of Saskatchewan, including in Regina. Light wind gusts not going to do much with that smoke, but it is going to be warm. Over 20 degrees by the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow, and that temperature just keeps going up. Smoke sticking around. We're probably going to be close to 30 degrees at that point. We're just going to be over 30 by the afternoon with a chance of a thunderstorm. Saskatoon, pretty much the same thing. We're hitting 21 degrees by the morning. Very smoky. East winds not very strong. And as we hit the afternoon, likely going to be seeing that smoke stick around, getting close to that 30-degree mark as well. Some beautiful sunsets being captured. Love this time of year where Brad sends us some great shots out from Humboldt Lake. And that smoke, Sam, adding to those beautiful red and orange colors that we see at night as well.
That looks like a tropical vacation.
It really does, right here in Saskatchewan.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
A new Canadian Heritage Minute is being filmed right here in Saskatchewan, dedicated to an all-star backcatcher, Mary Bonnie Baker. Baker's well known for being the inspiration behind Gina Davis's character in the 1992 film A League of Their Own. The town of Ogama has been transformed into the American Midwest, and we stopped by the film set.
She was such a trailblazer. She was an incredible athlete and an advocate for women, which is really cool, especially in the 40s when times were a lot different. So I feel very, very honored. And it's also really cool to be doing a Canadian Heritage moment because it just feels very like classic Canadian. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
It's cut, guys. You happy? Yeah.
I think it's a milestone. I think everybody wants to do a historic moment. You know, I mean, it's iconic, and there's a legacy there. And I imagine that all of us will be looking back at this for the next 20 or 30 years because they hang around. You always will see this for the rest of your life.
It's definitely great to have this film production happening in town here. We're really excited to to see our town portrayed in this light.
We're supposed to be in the States because they played in the States, and we have all these sort of, Canadian players. I think it was 61 Canadian players ended up playing in the American League. And so we're sort of combining different towns together. So it's never really one place in the United States, but it is sort of several places in the Midwest. And Ogama is sort of standing in for that right now.
Ogama is the perfect place for this historical vignette. I mean, this is a beautiful small town, Saskatchewan. It really does indicate what we have to showcase our province. Like, it didn't take much for them to put this together to make it look really authentic, but also really exciting too for the people within the community. Like, we've got people that are going to be extras that are like, they're getting dressed up, they're getting ready for this. And so, like I said, but this is what Saskatchewan's all about.
So the grandstand here actually was dedicated to her in the mid 2000s, and she's done a lot for baseball in the province. She's also a member of the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame.
I hope that anyone who doesn't know about her, this will just bring her to their attention. It's important to learn about our history, obviously, so that we can move forward a little bit better than we have previously. And yeah, I mean, from what I've read so far, and we haven't shot anything yet for me yet, but that's a really strong team. And so I think it's going to come out really beautifully.
Coming soon to a TV near you. That is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/Sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Ethan will be back with more local news and weather at 11. We are back tomorrow at 5:30 ahead of the Stanley Cup Finals. We leave you now with the sunshine, rainbows, smiles, and celebration that was Pride in Regina over the weekend. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.